Hi, my name is Christanna, and today we will be discussing the components of an ABC analysis. One important part of an ABC analysis is identifying whether a behavior is being maintained by positive or negative reinforcement. Going through the ABCs can help identify which type of reinforcement is maintaining the behavior. ABC is an acronym for antecedent, behavior, and consequence. The antecedent is what happened before the behavior, also known as the trigger. The behavior is the observable and measurable act that occurred. The consequence is what happened after the behavior occurred. I have two scenarios for us to practice with. Scenario 1 is a student frequently complains of a stomach ache when math time begins and is allowed to visit the nurse. Is it maintained by positive or negative reinforcement? For me, I feel like it is negative reinforcement that is maintaining the behavior. The antecedent is the demand placed to engage in math time. The behavior is the student engaging in complaining of a stomach ache. And the consequence is the student is allowed to go to the nurse, resulting in them leaving math class, which is escaping the math demand. According to Cooper et al., negative reinforcement happens when a behavior allows an individual to escape, avoid, or reduce something they do not want, which increases the chances that the individual will engage in that behavior again in the future. The reason the behavior is maintained by negative reinforcement is because a demand to engage in math time is being placed on the student. As a result of the student complaining of a stomach ache, they are allowed to escape the math demand by going to the nurse. Because the student is getting out of completing math, they are more likely to engage in the same behavior again in the future when math time begins. Scenario 2 is an employee frequently volunteers for overtime because their supervisor gives public recognition and gift cards. Is it maintained by positive or negative reinforcement? I believe that the behavior is maintained by positive reinforcement. The antecedent in this case scenario is the employee is offered the opportunity to volunteer for overtime. The behavior in this scenario is that the employee volunteers for overtime. And the consequence is that the employee receives public recognition and or gift cards from the supervisor. Cooper et al. States that positive reinforcement happens when something preferred is added after a behavior, increasing the likelihood that the behavior will occur again in the future. The reason the behavior is maintained by positive reinforcement in this scenario is because after the employee volunteers for overtime, they receive public recognition and or gift cards from their supervisor. Since the employee is gaining something they enjoy after engaging in the behavior, it makes them more likely to continue volunteering for overtime in the future, in hopes to get the preferred reinforcement from the behavior.